Hi everyone, my name is Nirav Prajapati. I'm a founder at Pirimid Fintech. Uh, I would like to thank Bank of Baroda for giving us opportunity to become their technology partner in their account aggregation journey. So we are the TSP for the AA onboarding. We are also a technology partner for this account aggregation hackathon that we've organized together, and we'll be the one providing you the whole end-to-end sandbox environment where participants will able to build innovative solutions for the hackathon. Um, to give you, I'm here today to give some overview of what is account aggregation ecosystem, give you some ideas on how the ecosystem has been evolved and developed, and what are some of the benefits as a end user citizens you'll be getting, and what are some of the use cases that are being developed or at least envisioned for the account aggregation. So uh, to start with, I hope you can see my screen. Uh, you might be aware of India's Tech. India's Tech started with identity layer, where we have now 1.3 billion Aadhaar card issued for the whole population of India. That solved the identity problem. Post that, we landed at payments challenges, where UPI was innovated, and UPI, now we know how successful it is, and it is doing like over 5 trillion worth of value being transacted on UPI. The next layer that is now is being solved by India's Tech, and which is again, it's also called an account aggregator, which is really giving power to the end citizen to share their own data uh, to the financial institution in a consented way. Today, if you walk in a bank, you are applying for a loan. They may ask you for a PDF bank statement, or you may download a bank statement from your net banking, and you'll email them, you'll WhatsApp them. There are many challenges in that. There are manual processes. You may not remember your net banking password. You don't know where that data is going when you WhatsApp to someone at the bank, right? And you may have to print a bank statement and share. So there are many challenges. There are many drop-offs. It takes time to process your collect the data and process the data by the bank. So account aggregation is here to basically solve some of those challenges. Where, as an end user, when you're looking for a better financial product, be it a loan, be it an investment advice, be it an insurance product, you're basically giving a consent to the end user, saying that I want to share my own data from XYZ bank to this insurance agency or this lender, so that I can avail a better loan offers or better insurance policies. And this happens completely digitally, in a secured way. The data flows from your source bank to the end financial institution in an encrypted way, where there's no chance of fraud, and the data goes within seconds. So here it'll give you an opportunity to share your data and avail a lot better financial product than you might be getting today. I'll give you a big quick overview here. So what you see in the screen is there are three parties involved. And obviously, as an end user, you're the fourth party. So there are, on the left hand side, there are financial information providers. These are usually banks, mutual fund houses, insurance companies, and obviously the tax agencies and all. So these are the institutions who holds your data today in various forms, in a digital forms, right? And on the right hand side are the financial information users. These are again a regulated entity who are basically there to give you financial product offering, be it loans, be it checking or saving account, or a better wealth management investment products, or an insurance policy, or any other relevant financial products, right? So financial information users, FIUs, is the one who is going to basically provide you better product offering from pulling the data directly from the FIPs via what's called an account aggregator, which sits in the middle. So account aggregator is the one who is a regulated entity by RBI, and they are a data blind entity where all data comes from the banks, FIPs, in an encrypted way and flows to the FIUs, again in a fully encrypted way, and they'll be the one decrypting the data. And then as an end user, you have a full control over what data you're sharing what data you're sharing, how much data you're sharing, what either a bank account, your insurance data, your mutual fund data. Is it last 6 months data, last 1 year data? Are you sharing one time? Are you sharing, every week, every month? And that is how the whole ecosystem is designed, where at the end the end user has a full control over what data they are sharing in a consented way. So when I say consented way, there will be a screen where you will be entering an OTP for an account aggregator or for a financial institution to validate that you're the right person. It's your own data that you're giving a consent to the FIUs. And that is how the whole ecosystem is designed, so that only when once you give a consent, then only the data goes completely securely to the FIUs. And so this is how the information will flow. I'll talk a bit more about where the ecosystem is and some of the use cases in slightly more detail. So what you see is a Sahamati website. Sahamati is a non-profit alliance body who is responsible for promoting and strengthening the account aggregation ecosystem. So you'll find a lot of resources in this website. There are multiple account aggregators approved by RBI today. And there are multiple banks and FIPs and FIUs that are onboarded on the ecosystem today. In terms of what use cases as an applicant you can develop, so there are some examples also mentioned in the Sahamati website. So I'll run through a couple of examples, and then I'll also show you a live sort of lending use case, how it's done. So that will also give you some idea on what are some of the interesting things you can explore in terms of building a solution for this hackathon, right? So here what you're seeing is a personal finance management with account aggregator. It's one of the use case where what is personal finance management? As an individual, I would want to know, what are my balances across my bank account, or what are my investments, what are my insurance policies, or how do I get a better product offering? How do I get a better insurance policy, or how do I get a better investment advice, right? So currently the challenge is that information is not aggregated anywhere. You may have to give access to your email accounts to download the PDFs of your of your AMC holdings or mutual fund holdings. So again, you're giving sensitive information out, and then the current apps might be able to give you some view and not again a real-time view. So here, in order to manage your personal finances better, have a good view of where you're spending, how's your income growing, or how what are the spending habits, for that to work well, you'll have to basically you can give a consent as an end user, and then all the information will be presented to you in a completely seamless way, so that it's a better personal finance management that the end user can have through this account aggregator ecosystem. Here's another example where, again, I mentioned this earlier as well. You're applying for a loan, you're going to a bank branch, or you're talking to a loan officer, where you're physically sharing a bank statement, or you're sending them a WhatsApp with a PDF file of the bank statement for evaluating your credit. This is all going to change with, as an end user, you'll presented an interface where you'll just give a consent saying that I'm sharing my banking data to XYZ bank so that I can avail a better loan offer. So here is the screen is showing you how you can share the bank statement through a consented way of the account aggregator. So similarly, there are a lot of resources on this Sahamati website. You can go through it, get some idea, deep insight into how account aggregator is going to help overall, and what interesting use cases you can build. Now, going deep into the hackathon itself, Bobwell hackathon. As a what we are looking for as a solutions is that obviously when you're using a banking app, so certain areas you can focus on in terms of building a solution on top of a banking app, so that how do I increase the customer stickiness on the banking app? Like, so how will how can you build a solution where you can pull the AA data and you can build a stickiness to the banking app. So that is one of the area where you can explore as an idea, like how do I make the end user engage a lot more with the digital banking app or any financial app, and how do I make it very sticky. So one area where you can explore. The other area you can explore is during the onboarding process. Maybe there are certain things you can use that is coming directly from the account aggregator to you can improve the onboarding journeys. How do you again focus on the user experience of whatever the solution you're presenting? How do I make it easy to use for the citizens? How do I make it like seamless journey, be it a consent journey, be it showing certain spending patterns or any other use cases, like focus on UI UX, which is one of the key areas to look into. And obviously the another area to evaluate is analytics, like because now you have a whole wealth data of the end user being given to you as a financial information user. What sort of analytics you can present, like so that it will basically help the financial the institutions to build a better product offering. So again, analytics layer, machine learning layer is where you can leverage some of this data and build innovative solutions. So this is what we are looking for in terms of or at least some thoughts in terms of what you can look to build. There are more information on the website. There is a schedule mentioned here in terms of, so there are two stages again. First stage is you submit your idea. Here is again put a lot of thought in terms of what is your idea. Do enough research and come up with ideas that will excite us in terms of yes. And because there is a screening process, once your idea is selected, only then you will be given an opportunity to then develop that into an actual prototype, which will be then selected at the end by Bank of Baroda team. So that is the format of the hackathon. I'll quickly show you a one live journey of one of the lending app, which is here, like customer, you may be familiar, you may have applied for a loan, so where you may be familiar with sharing your banking data through a net banking or through a PDF upload. So instead now it's done through an account aggregator. So what you can see here is you'll be redirected to the account aggregator screen where you'll be entering their OTP. Once OTP is entered, your account will be discovered with the bank, and post that you'll have option to give a consent saying that I'm sharing my HDFC bank account from this date to this date, sharing it only one time, how long is my consent valid for, and you approve the consent. So it's a seamless experience which is again live in production, and you can see how it improves the data sharing with a consented way through an account aggregator in a completely seamless way. So I think that's all I have today in terms of the overview of the account aggregator use cases and some of the benefits. Chintan has joined from my team. He'll be the one going through the detailed Sandbox environment, all the APIs. So I'll let Chintan go into that side. And I'd like to thank team of Bank of Baroda, Devfolio, who has helped us organize the hackathon, Safe, who is our account aggregator partner, and the whole team of Pirimid, who's helped us set up the whole Sandbox environment and all the interesting data sets we can present so that the participants can build the innovative solution. So thanks everyone, and I'll hand over to Chintan to take it further.
Yeah, thank you, Nirav. So I'll present my screen and I'll start from where you left off. We'll take it from here. So yeah. So as Nirav showed, this is where we have created like a bunch of documents for you to go to the APIs. So I'll be walking you through them, and we'll discuss in terms of like how can you use the APIs to actually make real applications, either it can be mobile apps, web apps, anything that you might think of to work on any particular use case that you have. So on this Google Doc that is linked in the Devfolio website, you will find one guide, usage guide. There are details of how the mock data works. There is a postman collection for you to try out all the APIs in a very simple way. And there is also sample data available, which you can just understand what kind of data that you might get from the ecosystem, either be it raw data of mutual funds, equities, insurances, pensions, or bank data, or any analyzed data that we are providing through an API for you to build on top of it. So I think to start with, I will just briefly walk you through the a simple sequence, a flow of basically how things work. So in any journey that we'll be building, at least there will be this three or four stakeholders involved. One will be the end user who is consuming our product. It can be a lending journey, it can be a PFM journey, wealth management journey, robo advisory journey, anything. So basically, whenever they come to your app as a participant, you might be building a web app or a mobile app. The main thing that you require from that individual is the mobile number, because his entire ecosystem revolves around mobile numbers. So you will take the mobile number from them, and then the very first step is you will create a consent. So as Nirav discussed, this is a consent-driven journey. So the very first step for anybody is to create a consent. So there's the first API that we'll be calling, in which you will be passing the mobile number, which is translated into a VUA ID. So VUA ID is just an equivalent of UPI IDs, what you might be seeing in the UPI world. So similarly, there are VUA IDs in a ecosystem. Then there is a tracking ID, which is just a unique identifier for you to track the flow of a particular request. And there is a template ID, which I'll talk to you in just 5 minutes after this first walkthrough. So in this API's response, you will get a redirect URL based on which the journey will begin. So I'll just show this API quickly. Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully you can see my postman. Yeah. So this is the first API that we'll be calling, where you will be sending the mobile number of the individual. Then there is a field called template name, which can be one time or it can be periodic. So the difference between these two is one time means like you only want the data from the user one time. So this can be use cases where you want the data from the end user one time, do some processing and give back results to him. And there's a second type of consent, which is like a periodic consent, where you want to take the data in a way where you want to fetch his data every month or every day or every week, and always keep an up-to-date information within your system to give him better insights. So there are two different types of consents in the ecosystem. And then there's a redirection URL, where you want the user to land on after the journey is completed. Basically, this is the URL which he will hit after everything is done. So this can be your application's URL or wherever you want him to land on. So once you hit this API, you will get this main parameter called redirection URL, on which you will send the user. So in your web app, you might redirect him to this page. So this is like an account aggregator page, where the mobile number that you had sent in the API will already be available here. And then the OTPs are static, 1, 2, 3, 4, you might find in the documentation. And then he's presented a consent which we had requested. So this he will be presented that the FIU wants your last 1 year of data, how frequently he wants, etc., etc. If he approves the consent, then he can select which all data types he wants to share. So we have set up various mock accounts for savings accounts, equities, also other things like insurance data, pension data, etc. So whichever things you want to share, you can select those accounts. The end user will select those accounts and he will accept the consent. And this will be the end of journey from the user's perspective. And he will land on whichever page you have selected him to land on after his journey completes. Coming back to our flow. So this is the first step that we completed, where the user has initiated journey, we have created a consent, user has approved the consent, and he's redirected back to your participant's app. Now, next step is to check the status of this request. So there are various statuses for a given tracking ID, which can be initiated, processing, completed, failed, etc. In this case, because we approved the consent, the status we get is completed. So once your backend server sees that the status is completed, We'll go to the next step and fetch the data using the same tracking ID reference ID we had sent earlier. So now we had shared two data points in the UI, if you remember, like one was a equities account and one was a deposit account. So we'll get the raw data of those those 2 points here, where you can go through the schema in detail, but I'll just walk you through a few examples. So like there are two objects here in the JSON response. The first one is type deposit, which is like the banking account, which will contain things like a profile information, which will have name, address, landline number, PAN card. Then how much is the current balance of the account, IFSC code, branch code, and the main important thing is the transactions of it. So basically, we'll have all the transactions available for the given individuals. We'll have the credit debit type of it, the amount of the transaction, the description or the narration that the bank usually sets, current balance, transaction timestamp, when the transaction happened, a value date, which is like just basically the date when it happened. So these are like a list of transactions that you will get from the AS ecosystem. So you can use all these three information: profile, summary, and transactions to build your insights on top of this data. And the other type we had shared was equities data. So in equities also we'll have similar details where we'll have name, and then we have total investment value, current value, the holdings, like which share is he holding, the rate of it, units of it, and then individual transactions of like buy, sell, etc. So then again you can build a similar analysis on the equities data also. So similarly, we have given around like 6 or 7 different data types. Each of them will have these three sections called profile, summary, and transactions. According to them, like you can build use cases around like his mutual fund holdings or his SIPs or his insurance details, or maybe even combine a bunch of data. Like let's say you combine stocks and mutual funds and insurance and bank data to build something interesting. So this will be your first input on top of which you can build a lot of interesting stuff. So this is what you get from the bank itself. Like as an entity, the FIPs provide this raw data. From Pyrimid Ignosis's perspective, we have added one more layer of analysis on top of it. So what we do is we have our own proprietary analytics, which we run on the raw data. So you can also potentially consume this data, which will give you very interesting insights into the banking data of things like we detecting salaries or detecting his EMIs, insurances, investments that he might be doing, or categories. So basically, what we do is for each and every transaction, we categorize. For example, this is the transaction called Apollo Health something. So then our API might categorize it as healthcare pharmacy, and then the merchant name is Apollo Pharmacy, and then you also get a logo of that Apollo Pharmacy. Then you can build a very pretty user interface of showing this same data, like a much better bank statement you can think of across all the banks, even. So right now, this is the data that you get from bank, and then we have our own insights added to it in terms of categories or any bounces that might have happened or reversals that might have happened, or his behavioral profile on categories. For example, how much money he might be spending on entertainment, or how much money he's spending on personal care or food or groceries, etc. And based on that, you can do a lot of personalization of your a lot of personalization of your use cases, where there can be various things like maybe pitching a better credit card, or as simple as just building like a common interface to look at all banks data, where right now you have like 10 different bank apps, but maybe you can build a much better super app which gives you all the required information but in a much better presented way, where the user can stay on top of his budgeting, and a lot of other potential use cases. So these are the 4 APIs where you will be mostly working with. This postman collection is already attached in the doc that we were talking about earlier. So in this Google Doc itself, we have this postman collection attached. Also, there is this API docs, which will talk in detail about all the APIs that I discussed, where individual examples of input output and what do you do with it. So again, just to reiterate, the very first step is to initiate the consent. Second step is to send the user to the redirection URL that you get here. Third step is to wait till you get a completed status, because that is when the data is actually available. Because behind the scenes, the FIU will be still fetching the data from the FIP, so that's like a multi-step process. Once you get the data to be available, you can fetch the raw data using the data API, or you can use our analysis API, which can also give you the analyzed output of the same input that you're fetching from FI data. So these are a quick summary of the 4 APIs that we have. We have also attached a mock data document which lists down. We have created like 7 or 8 mobile numbers who have different data types available with them already. For example, equities or mutual funds, insurances, pension data, FDRDs, etc. So you can use any of these mobile numbers, or let's say if your use case demands a very specific mocking of data, then you can just mail us and we can add your generated data also to our hackathon mock system. And there is one guide attached which will walk you through the entire journey of how to use this postman collection and how to complete the entire end-to-end journey. So this will help you to do the same thing that I was just talking about earlier. So I think that summarizes an end-to-end journey of how you can use the hackathon APIs. As soon as your application is approved, you will be given the API key for you to actually start building the application. Till then, you can use this sample data of Google Drive to look at the possible outputs of it. So you can think of what is possible. So you can just come here and see that, for example, insurance policy, you can come here and see what can be the possible output of that data type, so that you can figure out any use case that you want to build around insurances or investments or whatever. So that should be more than enough for you to start your applications. And also we'll be we have created a channel for you to discuss ideas. So as soon as your submission is screened, you will be also added to a chat group on the Slack channel, where we can discuss and help you build your use cases forward from where we are right now. So all that will be coming up very soon. Hopefully this is like a good introduction into the ecosystem, and excited to see what things everyone will come forward with from this hackathon. Yeah, I think that should be all from my side. Nirav, yeah, we can take it.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Chintan. I hope everyone got a good overview of what the Sandbox environment has to present. Just to reiterate, I'm going to just quickly share my screen again. Just to reiterate, all the hackathon information is here, including all the documents that Chintan was showing is all here. It is a 2-step process, where first step is to come up with an interesting idea. The bank team will review it, and once you're selected, only then you'll get an API keys to access the Sandbox environment. So put good enough effort to come up with an interesting idea, and then once you're selected, you'll get the access to the Sandbox environment. Any questions, if you have, you can email here. There's an email address provided for any questions, queries, and we would be happy to answer your in resolving your queries. I hope that covers everything today that we had in the agenda. Again, I would like to thank team of Bank of Baroda for taking initiative in organizing this hackathon and giving us an opportunity to become a technology partner. And we look forward to a lot of interesting ideas coming out of this. And there are a lot of interesting prizes. So, these are up for grabs. So good luck, everyone. And thanks for joining today. Thank you.
Thank you.